Hello, is this David?
Yes, this is David.
Hello, this is Dustin Wellness from KMSU Radio.
Oh, great. Did Adam send you some of my songs to play?
We haven't gotten it yet, but we'd love to hear some.
Well, you can get my song. You can download my songs if you go to hartandhartman.com or liebehart.com. You could download the music that's on the internet. I'd like you to download some of my songs to play while you interview me.
Okay, well,
I'd like you to add the Chicago Northwestern from the Trains of the Past and Present, and Burlington Northern, and Laurent Doesn't Want Me to Look at Porn.
all right.
There's an alien that I wrote a song about an alien that was anti-porn. It's a really funny song, and no money to be made at the Santa Monica Pier. Well, I do. I'm having me and James Squall, the cast of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. We're all have hit some hard times after the show has ended. What breaks my heart is the Christian Science Church I did so much work for with my public access show, serving as an organist, a first and a second reader at their church. Many of their at the different churches I belong to, they denied me help from their Principal Foundation, which is sponsored by the Smucker Jelly Company and the Mott's Applesauce. The Principal Foundation is a group that's supposed to help out any members of the Christian Science Church that are having financial challenges. And I also donated thousands of dollars to their group, and they denied helping me with any money, which is sad.
Yeah.
I'm an ex-veteran, and that kind of like breaks my heart. But it's very hard to you want to ask me a question. I like the people that are listening to the radio station. I'm trying to raise money to pay my bills. My rent went up very high, and I'm trying to raise and I've been working temp services, and have had to go back to being a church a street musician and a church musician that doesn't pay much to pay my bills. And I bought a permit to sell my artwork on the Santa Monica Pier, and I haven't gotten hardly like any business from there at all, or La Brea Tar Pits. Only the fans, one or two fans will support me, but 90% of the people will walk by like I don't even exist, and it hurts me that my own fellow Christian Science Church members and other people will walk by like I don't exist when they see me selling my artwork and the artwork in the parks, and I feel that's shameful. So I understand how senior citizens feel after they've taken care of their kids and raised them, and then they're thrown in a rest home and forgotten about. It's the same thing what happens to an entertainer that has served on television for a long time. I feel that television shows should include the past actors that have set a role model and built a character. They should be cast in different TV shows, but the TV shows seem to just only cast new faces. And half the people they put in these magazines that you buy at the grocery store don't have a big following like I am. They just have a pretty face, and they push them into the magazines, which I don't feel is fair. Because I have a huge following on the internet. And another sad situation is I can't get any of the talk shows to let me come on and talk about my career on the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job, which I said the Jay Leno Show, even when I was doing the Tim and Eric Awesome Show, Great Job movie, they said they made an excuse. Well, you have to have a talent agent. I got a talent. We don't let people on talk shows not unless they have a talent agent. And then the union, who had paid thousands and millions of dollars to, been a member of Screen Actors Guild since the 1980s, AFTRA, which merged with SAG ever since the 1970s. And it hurts me that a lot of the staff members that work for the union don't return the members' phone calls, which I feel is very unprofessional.
Well, we will definitely do what we can to try to help you out.
Okay, and if the fans would like to buy my CDs and get an autographed picture to help me out financially, they would send a money order or a check directly to me, David Liebe Hart, at 3918 West Beverly Boulevard, apartment 407, Los Angeles 90004. I'm trying to raise money to stay afloat, to keep my bills paid, because because temp services have only called me once or twice a month, and then the the patroness as a street musician at the Music Center, and the Hollywood Bowl has been very low. And then selling my artwork at La Brea Tar Pits and Santa Monica Pier. It's been nothing. I also go to the Work Source down the street from where I live and go on the computer and send out my job applications electronically, and I don't hear from a soul. The economy is still very bad.
Yeah.
And I also have tried Jack Scadaddy, who's my talent agent. He's the same talent agent for Charlie Sheen in North Hollywood. He is a franchise signed with Screen Actors Guild. He's mailed out my pictures and resumes and nothing. I bought all the trade papers like the Dramalog, the Ross Reporter, and have mailed out my pictures and resumes to the pilots and the new TV shows and movies, and I don't hear from anybody, and I'm a paid-up member in Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA, so I can't make heads or tail what's going on.
Hey, David, this is Ton. I'm actually a co-host here on the 5 Count.
Yes.
I just wanted to interrupt you real quick. We definitely want to air all this stuff and help you out here. It sounds like you're going through some rough times. Would it be okay if we actually ask you a few questions about some of the stuff that you've done? Okay, that'd be great. So we kind of wanted to just also kind of go through what you've been a part of and stuff, and kind of get an idea of, like, how did you actually get started in acting and start up your public access?
My parents paid for me to go to Goodman Theater. My parents paid me to take modeling and paid me in ballet when I was growing up in the 50s and the 60s. And they paid for me to take art lessons at the Art Institute. And I also was supposed to be. Danny Thomas discovered me way back in '61 when he was casting for the Andy Griffith Show, which was a spinoff from his show called Make Room for Danny. And I was supposed to be Opie's best friend on the Andy Griffith Show, but I even came to Paramount Studios to get a reading in the '50s with Danny Thomas. But I was supposed to be cast for the show. The Andy Griffith Show was supposed to be integrated, but my parents were not honest. When they were sent money for us to move to California, they kept the money and they never returned Danny Thomas's phone calls, which I felt was dishonest. And it's fair. I would have been a bigger star than not what I am today if I would have my parents would have let me get into acting at a young age back in 1961. When I came to California in the 70s, I pursued my acting career. I wanted to get work in Chicago for WGM, but my resumes were refused. And I started doing extra work for movies, started getting in plays, and I started doing stand-up comedy at nightclubs, and I met Robin Williams that way in the 70s. He was going to Fifth Church of Christ Scientists that was on La Brea in Hollywood. It used to be a big mega church. The Christian Science Church used to be big like the mega churches, but unfortunately they didn't want to accept any new ideas. They got rigid, conservative, racist people like Dorothy Estes working in the administration office that refused all the African American, Hispanic, Asians the right to produce music from the Christian Science Publishing Society, which is sad. They told me they only wanted to produce, and white said they only wanted to produce music from Caucasian people, and I feel that's terrible. I feel they should be. The Christian Science Church is very big in Mexico and Mexico City. In Africa, more members are there than there are in the United States, and I feel they should have something for all people. Not I'm kind of like disappointed in that. I wrote a whole bunch of new music for the new supplement and for the new hymnal, and all my songs were denied from them. So my ex-girlfriend, Sonia Rude, who Mark Rossbach broke us up because he was against interracial dating, she belonged to the ELCA Lutheran Church. But while I was dating her and in good standing with her, she told me about CCLI, Christian Copyright Licensing, and they published something like 400 of my songs my contemporary Christian songs and my music is now being used in the big mega churches, the Calvary Chapel, Foursquare, Baptist, Lutheran, every church that has a praise band in it. And I get the sad drift when Jesus says he went unto his own and his own received him not, because I wrote that music especially for the Christian Science Church, but because they had a dead ear, they were like the Jewish people didn't accept Jesus Christ. Unfortunately, the Christian Science Church refused my music and my talent, which really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's nice that you were able to kind of turn that whole thing around. It's definitely rough that they were denying you, but you were able to.
I had gotten Peter Allen, who has his own studio. He recorded a whole bunch of my music, who is a devout Christian Scientist and has done a lot of music for the Mother Church. And the stuff, you can go to hartandhartman.com. That's HARTANDHARTMANN.com, and you can download the sheet music and hear how the songs sound. And if your church has a license, a CCLI, Christian Copyright Licensing, you would report every time you use my songs, and that's the way I would get paid royalties for the use of my songs.
Cool. So then how did you go from doing this church music and that sort of thing, and you ended up, were you still kind of working? You made like an appearance on the Golden Girls at some point, and then eventually...
I did Golden Girls. I did 3 Golden Girls. I played a detective. I played answering the... I played a security guard on there. I worked with Maud Beatrice Arthur prior to that, doing extra work on Maud and Good Times. I did extra work and had a little speaking lines on Good Times. Back then I had a big afro. I was born in the 50s. I looked a lot younger. I still look young. You would never know I was born in the early 50s.
Yeah,
but if you
awesome.
don't smoke or drink and you exercise and you keep your body healthy, it won't. You'll look younger than what you are.
Yeah, for sure. So then, how did you go from Golden Girls to working with Tim and Eric?
Well, I just kept on mailing the pictures and resumes out, and Tim and Eric saw me doing my public access show. I did a public access show for the Christian Science Church. 3 famous puppeteers. The guy that did The Friendly Giant in Canada was a Christian Scientist, Bert Stilston that did Kukla, Friend, and Ollie, and Jim Henson. But he left Christian Science toward the end, like Robin Williams. But anyway, while I got a call from Ben Berwin, who is the casting director, and John Ugard. They had me to come in for a cold reading. And I read for the show, and Tim Heidecker and Eric Walheimer, who are also the executive producers, liked my reading and my acting. And then they found out I was a songwriter, so they hired me to write music for the show as well. And I became a hit when I did the Salome song that I wrote. I wrote all the songs I performed on the show.
And then with the puppetry that you did, was that all part of, had you been doing that a long time?
Yeah, Tim, I had been doing, Jim Henson, who was my Sunday school teacher in the Christian Science Church, taught me puppeteering. And he used to have before he did Sesame Street, he was on the Jimmy Dean Show. He also had his own local puppet show in Washington, D.C. And I met Jim Henson when I was going to a family reunion in Washington, D.C. at one of the local Christian Science churches. And my parents, we went to a family reunion on a regular basis to Washington, D.C. for a while, practically every year. And every time we went there, I had Jim Henson as a Sunday school teacher in the Christian Science Church in Washington, D.C. And then I had Bert Stilston, who did Kukla, Friend, and Ollie. He was a member of 17th Church of Christ Scientists in Chicago, Illinois, on Wacker Boulevard. And the church used to be in the Opera House on the other side in the past near the Chicago River. And he also taught with puppets and puppetry. And then my family went to Canada. white side of the family and my African American side of the family were originally Quakers and Lutherans before they were Christian Scientists, and the Quakers, and my family's part German, and the Germans and the Irish and part Irish faced a lot of racism and were refused and singled out, like the Italian from the English that were the first Caucasian settlers here. And so the Germans and the Irish and the Italian knew what blacks were going through being persecuted as slaves, and they helped free blacks through the Underground Railroad. And I am disappointed in Roots. Roots never mentioned the Alex Haley, and there would have been no Underground Railroad if it wasn't for the white liberal people that helped free blacks through the Underground Railroad that were Quakers and Lutherans. I couldn't get the Ebony magazine to put an article about it, which is a black magazine. My dad was a civil rights leader with Dr. Martin Luther King and with Jesse Jackson. And but blacks all ran to the Baptist church. The Baptist church is the one that depressed blacks and had blacks as slaves. And none of them hardly ever became Quakers or Lutherans. And those are the churches that were behind the African Americans, which I don't understand, but can't take heads or tails from.
Yikes! Yeah, that's a lot to to be trying to figure out at this point. But I understand your pain. Now, let me just ask real quick. You did some of this puppetry and stuff, even with John C. Reilly on the Check It Out with Dr.
I worked
Steve
that was a spinoff from the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. I did puppetry. I was teaching John C. Reilly puppetry with my ventriloquist puppet Albert Herman.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of like that experience? Did you really enjoy it or have fun?
Well, John C. Reilly and Zach Zalbanakis are natural, talented people. They are super talented people. They're wonderful to work with. They will get you laughing off the stage. They're natural, talented comedians like Robin Williams. They're gifted like Jonathan Winters. I mean, they can make comedy on the spot. Just like I can write a song about anything on the spot. They're just gifted people that are gifted comedians like my co-star James Squall.
Yeah, and you just mentioned being musical and writing a lot. Now
I write music. I started writing. I took piano lessons from Mrs. Waller at First Church of Christ Scientists in Park Forest, Illinois. And then Zephyra, who used to be the organist at the Christian Science Church, Ave Church in Chicago that used to be on Michigan Avenue, taught me how to play piano. And she was an organist for a long time at Ave Church in Chicago. Also, Joe Shurton taught me how to sing the classical music. And then when I came to California, I found out I had some Caucasian relatives that were the rec singers in the McKinnons. And my relative, I had a cousin named Linda McKinnon who used to be the organist at the Christian Science Church in Culver City, and she also taught me piano lessons and voice lessons and how to write music. Her dad was in an orchestra. Scott McKinnon, her dad, also taught me music theory and worked with me. And those, I owe endless thanks to those people that helped me out, as well as Phyllis McKinnon, who was a retired Army officer that was very strict with me. She made me get up at 5 a.m. and do exercise. She just was a wonderful role model to me and a wonderful spiritual person. I deeply miss them all. All the McKinnons have passed out on. They were wonderful role models and very talented people that helped me out along the way.
Yeah, sounds like they helped you quite a bit. Now, you're talking like classical stuff. You went all the way to the punk
training.
band now, right?
In the Christian Science Church, you have the solo piece is a hard classical piece from Mozart, Tchaikovsky. The Christian Science Church has they haven't changed their hymnal since 1932, so they just have old traditional hardcore classical Mozart in it. They recently did a new supplement that has folk Christian rock music in it. But the Christian Science Church has a wonderful 1932 hymnal that has a wonderful collection of old classical songs from Mozart, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, and I was trained on that classical music. And when you get your training, when you go take music theory or piano at any college, they train you first on classical music. And once you can master classical music, you can sing and read any music or master any songs or writing songs.
So, but now you've got a new punk band, is that right?
Yeah, I'm in a punk rock band. I've been doing punk rock music since the young people like me that are into punk rock music, and I'm also part German and Irish, and the young people that are into punk rock music are also big fans of the Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job. But you can hear what the words that I'm singing in my punk rock songs and my heavy metal songs. Many of your punk rock musicians, you can't hear what they're saying because they're only screaming. But you listen to my Monster album, which was my first punk rock album, you can understand the words of what I'm saying. That's the only thing I don't like about most punk rock musicians. You can't hear what they're saying because they're screaming half the time.
Yeah. Are you touring right now then? You're playing some shows?
No. I was very gifted to work with a very talented guitarist and arranger, Adam Papagan. And Adam Papagan is very talented. He went to UCLA College. He's been like the son I never had. He has helped me with my internet and everything, and he's also helped me co-write a lot of songs. And in a lot of my own songs, he arranged them better than what they were before. And we co-wrote a lot of albums together. But, the only thing I don't like about my punk rock band, they're very talented, gifted person. I'm trying to set an example so they don't use drugs. That's the only thing I don't like about them. They're very talented young kids, and I love them dearly, and I'm very lucky to have them behind me. I'm very lucky to have Adam and Phil Shivers, Shive, who is my booking manager, books me. I'm supposed to do work in Florida. The punk rock album did come out, but I would like to have seen it done over again. But
you can.
I also have another. You can hear bits of the punk rock album online if you go to liebehart.com. I toured with my band for 5 years all over the United States when the Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job ended. But the only thing I didn't like is two things went sour on the tour, the last tour. Our van got broken into, all our instruments got stolen, and then I ran across a racist guy named Mr. Berger in Knoxville, Tennessee, who threw beer all on the band, and then he was very racist and he assaulted me with a beer bottle. He got arrested. But he just had an old-fashioned hatred toward people of color. And when he found out Obama won, he took out his race hatred on me.
Wow. Well, all these
happened last year.
Yeah, all these projects you're working on, then you can find those all on your website again, right?
Yes, you can. But I prefer if the fans would write to me directly because my storage went up so high. All my puppets and my instruments are in my storage place, and I have 2 storage places that need to be paid. And then I have to. My internet service with AT&T has gone up. Everything has gone up, so I need support. So I'm asking the fans to send what they can afford to send. I'll send them an autographed picture of myself and a CD in exchange for any donations they can send to help me to stay afloat of things because everything's just gone up. Also, I had one of the puppets I inherited from Jim Henson that I use at the Hollywood Bowl. This guy, I got robbed several times, which is very sad. I helped out a homeless guy with, he said he was homeless. I gave him a path, which is the interfaith where they could get help. Plus I gave him a couple bucks and a Christian Science Sentinel. He knocked me in my head and took my credit card, and I had to get my bank cards, and everything stopped all over again. And the thing I don't like about Bank of America is they don't have a 24-hour weekend service. And so by the time I contact Wells Fargo and Chase that I'm with do have 24-hour customer service, but unfortunately AT&T doesn't, and the Bank of America doesn't. So I had to get my phone replaced and everything myself, cellular phone, and then it was my credit card, my debit card with my bank account stopped, which was a very nightmare, and a lot of stuff was kind of like taken out of it.
Well, if we were to send you a donation, would you be willing to write a song for our show? Is that something you would do?
I'd be happy to write a song for your show.
Might have to take you up on that then.
I'd be happy to, because James Squall, as we speak, has been evicted from the apartment building. I have pitched in money. Absolutely, production has pitched in money, but unfortunately, he's married to a woman that he met on the street that is an alcoholic, and she's kind of like bringing him down. And she calls the police if the landlady wants to spray the apartment or fix this apartment. And she's been very brutally mean to me when I've given them groceries and given them cans to recycle. She puts it right on my door, back at my door. And then I was telling her where here James Squall could get emergency help, and she left all the information on the bus bench on Thanksgiving Day.
Wow!
And she's got an ungrateful wife. It's very sad.
Well,
he's super talented, but that's why I'm careful who I date. There's a girl that wanted to date me who I will not mention. She told me she was into drugs and prostitution. I said, "Oh my God, I don't want nobody like that."
Yeah, you got to be careful.
I want a quality woman. A quality woman. You got to choose your women, your spouse, better than you choose your clothes. And then my grandmother Schroeder told me there has to be a chemistry between a woman you date. You all have to be compatible with the same interest.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of corrupt women that just use guys. I used to be married to a woman. My cousin and I both married people that were from Germany because we're both part German, and I got dumped by my wife Bridget Footman for a young Latino guy named Roberto Julius Gonzalez, and then after he got his green card, he dumped her. But like there's no honor among thieves.
Yeah, I guess not.
Wow.
I also would like you to put on that I'm looking for a quality Christian Science girl or a Lutheran girl that doesn't smoke or drink, and that's in her boyfriend's corner. I'm looking for someone that shares my same interest: acting, music, and theater. And I like someone younger than me, I'm looking for a quality woman that has morals and family values.
You and me both, David. You and me both. We'll put it out there.
So if any fans out there would like to date a gentleman, I'm open to any race, Asian, Hispanic, white, and well-educated black women, not the ghetto type that are uneducated, that want to just use a guy. I hate to say it, I'm really disappointed in the way African-American women don't stick behind their black men, and they're on drugs, and they have children out of wedlock, and they dye their hair blonde, and they look like a clown, and they're loud, and they don't act feminine like a woman.
Crazy.
I know there's some well-educated black women out there, but I haven't found them. The ones I found are very, I don't particularly care for. But I like, since I'm part German, I'd like to find a German girl or a Norwegian girl. I love blondes and redheads. Since I'm part Irish and part German, I like to find a young white girl that's trying to break into music that I could build up a long-term monogamous relationship with that shares my same interests and that doesn't smoke or drink.
Sure. Well, after being on the show today, you should have no trouble after this.
Okay, and I like to say, what else I was going to say, when young people call me up all the time. I try to set an example for them, tell them to stay in school, to set goals for themselves, and to stay away from drugs and immorality, and to stay focused and get themselves in a spirit-filled church. that speaks about Jesus Christ and God, and where people live, walk the talk, and live the word. My favorite saying is from Violet Hayes, who was a Christian Science practitioner and teacher that wrote a lot of songs in the old 1932 hymnal. My favorite is, arise ye people, take your stand. The second verse is, go forward then, and as ye preach, so let your works confirm your speech, and prove to all with following signs the word of God is power divine. And so many, what's turned people off from Christianity is people don't practice what they preach. When Jesus says to love your neighbor as yourself, people should do that. And when people, there's still a lot of people that are racist against African Americans, and there's a lot of African Americans that are racist against other blacks that don't make enough money as they do. Where I do my music, there's a big African play going on, and the rich African Americans are very disrespectful to the poor vendors there that are musicians and selling jewelry and stuff. They laugh at people when they see them trying to make an honest living and walk by them, which I feel is despicably bad. It's like that song says, united we stand, divided we fall, that the fifth dimension thing. And it's sad that a lot of people don't have that unity and love among each other that they should have.
Definitely. Well, David, would you mind recording an ID for our show?
Sure, and I can make up a song for your show, too. Tell me a little bit about what you want me to make the song about.
Well, the name of the show is The 5 Count.
The 5 Counts, okay.
And my name's Dustin, and Ton is with me.
Justin and Tom. Justin and Tom, and it's called The 5 what?
The 5 Count. C-O-U-N-T.
Okay, The 5 Counts. Justin and Dunn have a show telling about what's to come. They have so many guests that, like me, you can hear the rest. They interview stars that are trying to make it in Hollywood and go far. I am so glad I'm a part of their radio show. And don't you know, they tell it like it is on their radio show. Yo. I just made that up.
That's beautiful. That's amazing.
Excellent.
I can make up songs. Back when I used to perform on the stage, I'd have people to tell me what they want me to make up a song about in the band, and I would work together and put together any topic they want.
That's awesome.
We would love to help you out, send you a donation, and maybe we can get something.
Desperately. My rent is gone beyond $700. My storage has gone high. Everything has gone up, and it's a scary situation. And I have to, like Mary Baker Eddy says, wait and love more for every hate and fear. No ill since God is good and lost his gain. So I know a new and bigger job than I had on Tim and Eric is going to unfold. But the painful thing is I have to forgive the Principal Foundation that denied me help. And know that Mrs. Eddy says in prose works, if another Christian science denies help from another Christian scientist, God will supply other means. So I appreciate that the guests that are watching me will donate to help me in my hour of need.
Definitely.
And I believe in working for what I get. I'm anti-welfare. I believe in working for what I get. So when I don't get called for manpower or Kelly services, I bought a vending license from the city of Santa Monica. I sell my portrait sketches on the Santa Monica Pier, and I also sell my artwork at La Brea Tar Pits on the weekends. But business has been very, very bad there.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for being on with us today.
Well, as my favorite comedian would say, Jackie Gleason, you're the greatest. And I love Jackie Gleason. He's my favorite role model. And Bill, I love Bill Cosby, too.
All right, there it is. We will be in touch with you, all right?
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
As my German side would say, Dankeschön. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.